Fear on the High Seas. A serialized gay romance taking place on the Caribbean cruise liner, the Majestic Coral. Sail with me as I bring everyone a Caribbean adventure with romance, humor, and possible destruction. Penned by Ryland Mason, narrated by me, Brian Shepard.
Chapter 5. Justin. As Justin and Chance returned to their room, it was finally setting into his head that he was in fact having dinner with the captain. The very same captain who just told him he had a beautiful smile. If anyone was beautiful, it was Eric. Hands down. Justin, being thrown back to reality by the sound of bags hitting the floor between their beds, he jumped and turned to look at Chance as he plopped himself into the chair. "Don't you have a date to get ready for?" Chance said with a grin across his face. "I figured you would want to get ready first, as I'm not meeting Anita until later." "It's not a date, just a conversation over dinner. We'll be talking about the ship. Not very romantic," Justin replied, walking over to the dresser. "What am I going to wear?" "Clothes, Justin." "No, not that one." "Yes, blue." Chance pointed to the blue short-sleeved dress shirt as Justin grabbed for his tan shorts. Everything he needed in hand, Justin headed for the shower. Finishing up and getting dressed, Justin noticed his hair was playing color tricks again. His hair, mostly curls, was auburn. Yet in the sun, it would give the look of red. Maybe as he got older, it was changing. His mother was born a redhead, yet later changed brown. Now that he was ready and walking back into the room, he proceeded to put his stuff away and have a seat in the desk chair to put his shoes on. Looking over to Chance, who happened to be laying on his bed, reading what looked like menus for the restaurants on board. "Have you decided where you and your date Anita are going to dine this evening?" he said with a smirk. "Two can play at this game." "Oh, a funny man, are we?" "Okay, wise guy. Yes, we have. It seems we'll be going to the Chanterelle restaurant on the promenade deck. It's a buffet. Anita says it's one way to enjoy all types instead of the boring one dish. And that it's cheap, she says, which confused me as the meals are provided. She said, no, dear, the drinks. Cheap and also fantastic. I don't get her sometimes. Anyways, I'm heading into the shower. Have a great time, all right?" Chance smiled as he grabbed his clothes and headed into the bathroom, leaving Justin to wait for the captain to swing by his cabin. Pacing around the room, looking at the clock, another 10 minutes to go, and the anticipation was killing him. He focused in on a model of the ship that was encased in plastic. Great detail, yet different name. Penny May. He would have to ask about that later, as a light knock at the door had him straightening and quickly walking over to the door. Opening the door, he found Eric. Not the captain, as Eric was not in uniform, yet casually dressed, which had Justin looking from the floor all the way up to a smile and eyes that locked onto Justin's. "Good evening, Mr. Fox. Ready for some dinner?" he said as he stepped forward to allow passengers by, causing him to be mere inches apart. Eric could feel the heat from the closeness, which was going away. Damn, he moved. Absolutely." Shutting the door behind him, they started to walk down the hallway towards the Starlight Lounge. So before I go any further, here we are, Chapter 5. And we're about to go into the Starlight Lounge, which I described to you in Chapter 1. The Starlight Lounge was a real lounge on the ship, the Emerald, which the Majestic Coral is based off of. The Emerald was scrapped, unfortunately, back in 2012 for, metals and various things. It just was put out to pasture. So I thought, why not bring it back into service? Technically, I can. It doesn't exist anymore. But I made it exist in the Majestic Coral. But anyways, I do describe it kind of to the point where you kind of get the idea of what the room looks like. You can look it up. I'm going to be posting some pictures of what the Starlight Lounge actually looked like when it was on the ship. So, I mean, it did have stained glass ceiling and with lights adorning on, and it did look like stars. And that's the way people remember it. The staircase, coming from the top deck down, was a spiral staircase adorned, and lined with lights as well. So it was a very calm and romantic room on the ship. So, yeah. Everybody wanted to be in the Starlight Lounge. It was the place to be on the ship. Unless you were a gambler and you wanted to be in the Monte Carlo casino or something. But, all right. Anyways, I just wanted to give you that little bit of information. I am using real rooms throughout the ship. I may put them in various places on the ship that doesn't coincide with the real one. But let's remember, that one doesn't exist anymore. So I'm just making it up as I go along. So, anyways, let's keep going. Because we're about to walk in. And things are about to change, folks. Oh, my goodness. So let's keep going, okay? All right. This was Justin's favorite place on the ship so far, besides being in the company of Eric. As they descended the spiral staircase into the lounge, it seemed to grab some attention as people were looking up from their meals as Justin got to the bottom step, stopping for a moment to look up at the stained glass ceiling with its lights like stars. He looked back down to see Eric holding out his hand. Justin, taking it, was then led to the back, somewhere away from others, a table for two. Eric, the gentleman that he is, pulling out Justin's chair before sitting himself. I apologize for taking your hand, yet you were causing a backup on the stairs, he laughed. Sorry, I just can't get enough of this room. The design and the lights, it's, well, romantic, he said, still looking around the room to where he finally landed on Eric. I'm glad it's your favorite. Mine, too. I was happy to see the owner kept it as original as possible. It's like coming in here to free my mind. The mood is just right for it here. So, Captain, I have a few questions while we wait to order, Justin said, as he and Eric looked over the menu. Of course. And please, it's Eric. No uniform tonight, he responded, putting the menu down. All right, Eric. Justin, Mr. Fox is my father. To break up the moment, Ashley stopped by their table. Eric, nice to see you away from that bridge and enjoying oneself, she said as she smiled and looked at Justin. Justin, this is Ashley Ellsworth, owner of the ship. Ashley, may I introduce Justin Fox, a first-timer out on the ocean. A pleasure to meet you, Miss Ellsworth. Same here, Mr. Fox. I hope that you are enjoying your first cruise. And with Eric here, I'm sure you'll be in good hands, if you'll excuse me, she said as she smiled and walked away from the table, only to stop and chat with other passengers. The waiter came and left with her order, and now they just sat there looking at each other, like waiting for Simon to tell them what to do next. Can you tell me anything about the Penny May? There's a model ship in my cabin. Same ship, just with a different name. The Penny May is or was the sister ship of the Emerald back when Caribbean cruising was all the rage. 2 ships were used for the tour, the Emerald and the Penny May. The Emerald would leave Florida and stop along the way, while the Penny May would leave from the Bahamas and up around to meet up in Port-au-Prince. Yet something happened, and they never docked together. What happened? An engine fire, which knocked the ship off course, dead in the water. They tried to steer the ship, but they lost the battle when the ship decided to hit a reef, causing damage. To the point, the captain had no choice but to beach the ship, saving lives in the process. Justin, noticing the way Eric looked as he described the events, as if he was there. Placing his hand on Eric's, he looked up to Eric, who was now surprised. You tell the story as if you witnessed it. And you would be right. Penny May was my first post when I became staff captain. Not many people know that story. I helped with the lifeboat evacuations while my captain tried to slow the ship, enough to release the lifeboats without tipping over or hitting against the ship. Him and I were the last ones off the ship when the Emerald came to our rescue and picked up our passengers. A pained look on his face as he can see it in his mind, like it was yesterday. I can't even imagine going through something like that. I'm just glad everyone was okay. Whatever happened to the ship? Oh, the company went under at that point, and it would be millions to move the ship as it was listing to port and taking on water. We knew days later she would sink. Anyway, on to better topics. How's your food? It's fantastic. Fish and chips, which I never eat, seems good. I'm cruising for the first time, having dinner with the captain. I guess it's time to try new things, he responded, sounding sure of himself. So, what is it that you do back home? If you don't mind me asking. You already know what it is that I do. Wait, let me guess. You're a tech kind of guy? Glasses with a cubicle, Eric said, studying him. Cubicle, yes. Tech, no. That would be Chance. We both work for a PC gaming company, yet I'm the marketing guy. It's how I got the tickets for this cruise. I was able to land a contract for a new game. I do have glasses, just don't wear them all the time. Eric and Justin talked through dinner about various things ranging from life at home, work, and the ship. Finding more in common with each other had them both feeling like there actually was something here. Justin felt at ease as their dessert arrived, which looked amazing to Justin. Key lime cheesecake with a raspberry drizzle. Justin was in heaven. Creamy and all that goodness had Eric just looking over with a grin. I take it cheesecake is your favorite, as you seem to savor each bite. Key lime is one of my favorites. However, cheesecake, to me, is a food group all on its own. Try this, it's to die for, Justin said as he sliced a little piece onto the fork and fed it to Eric. Both looking in amazement that just happened. Laughing, both talked more and finished off the cheesecake. Conversations flowed throughout the lounge as people enjoyed a great meal in a beautiful atmosphere. That was until a very loud boom sounded throughout the ship, causing it to shake and list violently, knocking Justin and Eric out of their chairs. Grabbing for Justin as glasses and plates fell from the tables. The glass shards swaying, yet holding on. It seemed the ship was righting itself as people got up and looked around in awe, shock, and horror. Passengers began to pile out of the lounge. Holding Justin close, checking him over, asked, "Are you all right?" Justin just stood there, wide-eyed and scared, as Eric could feel him shaking. "Yes, I'm fine." "What was that? Did we hit something? Oh God, are we sinking?" Panic was setting in as all his fears and nightmares about cruising were becoming reality. "I need to get to the bridge. Are you okay to walk?" Eric asked Justin, as he just stood there looking at the people hurrying out the doors and up the staircase. Eric, grabbing Justin's hand, led Justin out of the lounge. They proceeded down the hallway to the elevators. If the loud boom was not loud, now it seems the fire alarm was going off, yet the doors were starting to close, which would prevent the fire. But it would also prevent them from opening, until the system deemed otherwise. Eric or someone would have to be on the bridge to override the system. "We need to get back into the lounge. I need to call up to the bridge. We won't be able to get far. My key card won't open."